They have him as a manager. And again, I apologize for the bird, but again, they have him as a manager according to the plans that I read here on the if I can find it, right here on the PW Torch app. They have plans to make Booker a manager. Now they might make him an occasional wrestler because he had a good showing last night. In the Rumble basically. It was last night, but the first time I saw it today. So he had a good showing, but he ended up being eliminated. Now, he had a good showing only against the Nexus because they were weakened by the guy that came out before Booker, and that was the returning Great Khali. And Khali eliminated one of the Nexus members, which was Husky Harris. So after Booker gets eliminated, John Cena comes in and finally cleans house and eliminates most of Nexus except for CM Punk. And then after John comes in, who comes in next? Hornswoggle. I mean, you'd think, well, wait a minute, maybe Finley. No, it was Hornswoggle. And I guess John used that distraction by Hornswoggle to get CM Punk up in the Attitude Adjustment and eliminate him. So CM Punk's not going to be main eventing the WrestleMania. He'll be in one of the highlighted main events, but not in the main event. And Hornswoggle, and they actually did a pretty good comedy bit with Hornswoggle and Cena. Anytime somebody came in, they teamed up against whoever it was. I mean, they had Hornswoggle do a five-knuckle shuffle with Cena. They had him do a little attitude adjustment. I mean, it was pretty cool. I mean, I know people don't like Hornswoggle, but I thought it was pretty funny. And then later on, another big surprise, another big return that was rumored, and that I talked about in my predictions, Kevin Nash. That's right, Kevin Nash returned at the Rumble, but not as Kevin Nash, but as Diesel. That's right, Diesel. And he got the loudest ovation I've ever heard. The loudest, and he got the loudest, and he also got the loudest booing, not because he ended up turning on everybody or whatever. He got the loudest booing because of Wade Barrett eliminating him. And then they showed some kind of interaction between him and Big Show, so that might be something there. But overall, just a great Rumble. I mean, back and forth. I mean, the two surprise entrants. Unfortunately, there was no Triple H. There was no D.H. Smith or anything like that, but back and forth with the Rumble was just great. The one thing I will say about, the one thing that did surprise me, but I really wasn't surprised by this much, because I think I talked about it, was the fact that you had Ziggler and Orton in the Rumble match itself. Now, I think the way WWE worked this out was whoever lost the title matches, the losers would get another chance. So even if they had booked Orton to be champion, Miz would have gotten another shot at being champion by being in the Rumble. Same with Edge. If Edge would have lost to Ziggler, Edge would have had a chance to get another shot by being in the Rumble. And then during the match, they say that the reason we didn't see Cody Rhodes, who was supposed to be in it, is because Cody didn't want to show his face because his nose got broken. I don't know. But it was just a tremendous Rumble, very historic, because it was 40 men. And I think if you're a Cena fan, the one thing you hate was the fact that Miz came in. Miz, okay, here's the thing. Alex Riley entered the match with Miz's music. Miz was at ringside at the announce table. Michael Cole marking out for the guy. And what happened was, okay, Alex Riley got eliminated during the match, but then Alex Riley came back towards the final, where Cena was one of the final four, or final five. I'll get into that in a minute. But Alex Riley came back into the match, came back to the ring, distracted Cena, and Miz eliminated Cena, threw him over the ring, threw him over the ropes. So, yes, and they did point out there was no disqualification, but still, Cena got screwed out of the Rumble by Miz, who wasn't in the Rumble, which tells me Miz's reign's not going to last too much longer, and whether people like it or not, we're going to have a Cena-Miz match at WrestleMania. I hate to say that. If we have it sooner, that'd be great. I think we're going to have it later on. But you know, it was just a tremendous Royal Rumble. I mean, like I said, you know, if you're a Cena fan, you hate the fact that he got screwed over by The Miz, who many feel is, you know, you got 50%, if not more so now, feel as though Miz shouldn't even be the champion, and you got others that do. So, again, whether we like it or not, Miz and Cena are going to probably headline WrestleMania. Maybe sooner than that, we'll see what happens. Then the final two in the match, believe it or not, the final two. Okay, well, first of all, the final four was Cena, Orton, Barrett, and Del Rio. Now, of course, like I said, Cena got screwed out by The Miz. And then Orton eliminates Barrett, but then Del Rio eliminates Orton from behind. Okay, it looks like Del Rio has run. But it looks like Del Rio has run, right? But yet you have two referees in the background, Charles Robinson and another one. Charles, I think, telling the other referee, wait a minute, it's not over. We got one more participant lying on the floor. And who was that participant? Santino Marella. That's right. Who would have called that? Santino Marella was the last, one of the final two in the match. And it looked like Santino was going to win, but of course they had to continue building up Del Rio. So Del Rio, even though he got hit with the Cobra, reversed Santino and threw him over the ropes. So Alberto Del Rio wins the Royal Rumble. But who would have called the fact that Santino was, I mean, of course, if you saw my live reactions, you know how I reacted to that, but who would have called that? I mean, to many people, that's typical TNA stuff. Nobody would have saw somebody like a Santino, you know, becoming champion. Nobody would have saw, I mean, not champion, but being the final two. Nobody would have saw that. But what happened is he got, I think, struck down, I think, by Ezekiel and Wade. He got knocked down by them, and he rolled out of the ring. So Santino, like I said, who would have called it, ended up being one of the final two. Now, what does this mean for Santino? Does this mean he's going to get a push again? Probably. I don't know. Does this mean they might say, hey, Santino, you want to be one of the, we're going to make Santino one of the 6 guys in the Elimination Chamber? Who knows? But it was kind of like really, you know, really surprising to see that. But overall, just to me, it was a great Rumble. I thought it was one of the better ones. Very historic, like they said, because the first Rumble that they had 40 men in. And you know, and as I said in my live reactions, usually when they had Big Show come out, when they had Big Show come out 35, usually that's when the pay-per-view's over. You know, that's when the Rumble thing's over. But that wasn't the case. And again, Alberto Del Rio wins it. And like I said, it was a great Rumble, one of the better ones, very historic with the addition of 10 more men. Now, the one thing I do want to talk about is the 2 surprise returns. Well, I guess they weren't much of a surprise when people say and report that Nash and Booker have been in negotiations with the WWE. Now, a lot of people have said that Kevin Nash was too old to be in TNA. He should just retire. He just should hang it up. Well, you know what? I think I figured it out. The reason people look at a guy like a Kevin Nash or Booker T and they say, you know what? These guys need to step aside and they need to get out of the business and all that. Here's why they say this. Here's why they say that. Because TNA's a younger company. That's right, TNA has only been around for almost 9 years now. Going on 10 next year, but 9 years. All right, 9 years. TNA, when a company like that and a company like Ring of Honor have only been around for a short time, not even a decade yet, a lot of people expect those companies to focus on the fresher, younger faces. Those that never really have opportunities in companies like WWE. Well, when someone like Kevin Nash or Booker T go back to WWE, it's like, hey, they're back where they belong. It's because WWE, believe it or not, even though they're going through a youth movement right now, balances things out with the likes of Kevin Nash and Booker T. And the fact that they got the Hall of Fame in Atlanta this year, maybe they're going to be inducted, who knows. But again, I think I figured it out. The fact that TNA and Ring of Honor are younger companies, so when you have guys like Nash and Booker coming in and having themselves pushed and given championships and all that, people don't like it because a newer company like TNA and Ring of Honor needs to be focused on the fresher, younger faces. This time, but this time when, well, not this time, but any time they go to WWE, go back to WWE, a place like WWE, you know, they get cheered and welcomed back with open arms because it's a balancing out process. It's a balancing out process. That's what it is. So, overall, great Rumble. I give it a 10 out of 10. I know some people might consider that a little high, but overall, just a tremendous Rumble and a lot of story developments for WrestleMania matches. Began developing here, and we'll just see what occurs. And that's all I'm going to say. Tell me what you guys think. I am out.